Happy Thursday,
What a week.
motherfuckers. What a week. What a week. Murphy bit me today.
Oh God.
Oh, whatever.
Murphy.
Got me good.
That's not good.
Yeah. I got one of those mats that
Hmm.
it's like fluffy. It looks like a bath mat. But
Yeah.
like you put it outside so that when your dog like goes to go inside, he runs
Ooh,
across
yeah.
it or she runs across it and or they run across it. And like it's supposed to like clean the stuff off their feet.
Yes, really quickly, right?
Yeah. And he was
Hmm.
like he was like jumping over it.
No.
Like
Oh
he was
my
like, I'm
gosh.
not blah, blah, blah. So I like tried to take it inside to like show him it was like soft and like
Uh-huh.
nice and he would love it. And like he was putting his paws on it and then like I went to put my hand on it and he was like, this is my mat and like bit me.
Oh, Murphy.
Murph.
That's not cool.
Murphy
It's not
Scurfy.
cool of the Murph dog.
Not cool at all. So that's his style.
What is
Um
cool, and what you might say is cold,
Phrasing.
is the outside for most people in, I don't know, all of America right now. A lot of it. Definitely the Midwest and the northern states.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just freezing cold everywhere. It's
It's terrible.
officially hibernation weather.
Yes, this is the
Um,
like, you do not go outside unless you absolutely have to,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
already rare for us.
And I'm being made fun of too because so this is kind of my icebreaker
Ooh,
with
nice.
is related to sort of weather, I guess. But
Yeah.
like, is there anything style, fashion, clothing wise that you are like, I will never give this up? Like I keep seeing TikToks about how like skinny
Mm,
jeans are out and like it's like all about wide leg. And I was
yeah.
like, I am short and squat. Like I will not give up. Like the ankles are probably the only
Yes.
thing left on me that's skinny at this point. So like I'm showing them off.
Same.
So I'm like, I will never, like I'm officially that person that's like, I'm not going to give this up to be in style or fashionable.
Yeah. I mean, I won't give up black leggings, and those have always been up for debate. There are some people who've always thought it was a terrible idea to wear them. But I will say I have a couple flared, which at that point we're talking about yoga pants, which was like
Uh-huh.
the OG way to wear basically leggings out in public. So I do have some flared ones because those came into style, but I will say 90% of my leggings are just like straight leg
Hmm.
leggings. And it was also very funny because when the flares came into fashion, speaking of TikTok, Gen Z kept walking around and they'd be like, oh my God, there's this new cool thing that I'm so obsessed with. And it is flared leggings. And so they just like didn't even know that they existed prior. And it was funny.
You like
But
yoga pants.
yeah, but in general, just like a straight leg black legging, I'm just never gonna give it up. It's the best.
Hmm. I I hate pants. Like I will wear jeans or I will
Same.
wear joggers when I'm like out in public or whatnot.
Yeah.
But most generally, no matter how warm or cold it is, I'm
Yeah.
wearing shorts. Like even if I
Yep.
have to take Murphy outside, I'm wearing shorts. If I have to go to the grocery store, I'll wear joggers. But like
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok that made me think of this because there was a guy sitting at his desk and
Mm-hmm.
it must have been fall when he published this TikTok or whatever, posted it, published.
It
Um,
counts.
but he was wearing like a gray crew neck sweatshirt and a pair of like the 5-inch running shorts.
Oh
And he
yeah.
was like, it's that time of year where every gay guy you know is going to start dressing like Princess Diana.
Yes.
Because you know how she like had like the short shorts and like the oversized sweatshirt and it was like the like a
Yes.
fashion icon moment. And I was
Yes.
like laughing, but I was like, that is 100% a style I'm not giving up. Like a 5-inch
No.
short and a
Mm-hmm.
crew neck sweatshirt that is oversized is always going to be my style. Even if
Yes.
people are like, oh, it's all about hoodies and it's all about like cargo shorts or something disgusting, I would be like, no, it's not.
Yeah, hoods stress me out from a sensory perspective. Sometimes it makes like the collars pull on you, but it's just like extra fabric that just stresses me out, I guess is what I'm here to say. But I have also seen that TikTok and then a similar one. And then I'm also seeing the TikToks that are comparing your boy Jacob Elordi to Princess Di in his fashion choices and in some of his mannerisms. And I kind of agree.
It would make sense if he was
Yeah.
like Princess Di reincarnated.
Yeah. It
'Cause
would.
he's such
It
a
would check
little
out.
angel. I love him.
He
Not little, but
is. He is so sweet in all of his
I love him.
interviews.
I
He
love
has like the
him. He's
safest energy,
oh, I know, right? Like you
unless he's
can
acting. Maybe it's fake, but he's projecting safe energy.
I feel in my heart of hearts that he will never get canceled or do anything or say anything problematic.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think
Remember,
it would happen.
do you remember like when the whole like Taylor and Travis Kelsey thing started and everybody was going through
Yeah.
his like very old tweets
Yes.
and they were just like funny and like kind of dumb and like people were like, this is how we know he's a good person because you can't find anything problematic in his old tweets.
Yeah, I do remember that. Do you have
I
anything
just
else to say?
I just feel like that's how I feel about Jacob Elordi. Like Jacob
Yeah.
Elordi and Travis Kelsey will never be problematic.
I think I think Jacob Elordi never will. And I have to go back to the tweets and say there were nasty tweets that somehow someone's powerful PR machine was really hiding by pushing all these memes out everywhere else about how cute they were. But there were some very problematic, I mean, very he was like calling girls fat and saying like no wonder this team never wins. They don't even like weigh their cheerleaders, like
Oh my God, I did not know this.
some extremely like rude. I mean, everyone's going to make the argument that in 2007 everyone talks that way.
Right.
And
Yeah.
no, this isn't like pin him to the cross and get rid of him forever, but like I saw those tweets and then
Don't
I was
celebrate.
like, I am not seeing these anywhere else in the mainstream. And actually, shout out to my boy Brian Licious on TikTok because he has some of the funniest satirical Taylor Swift commentary, even though he loves her music, which is just like becoming me.
Yeah.
And he was the one who showed he got me clued in on the fact that there were some pretty problematic and weird tweets, but that PR was PRing that week.
That was her PR then.
Exactly. It was not his.
Because she was getting so much hate for what was that guy's name? Matt,
Maddie Healy,
Matty Healy,
the
and like some
rat.
of the things that he said. So
Yes. Also misogynistic. I'm so tired. I wish they would break up. I'm so tired of it. I'm
well,
so
if they
tired of
do,
it. Also, I will because I need to say both sides. Also, if they're happy, I'm glad they're happy, but
yeah.
I'm not personally a fan of it.
No, no, I agree with your whole like don't nail him to the cross, but like also don't
Yeah.
celebrate him for being not problematic and being this
Hmm.
little angel when there's evidence
Yes,
that he
exactly.
isn't. I just
Yeah,
get
it
sick
was.
of like people trying to like say all this stuff about like her being upset that she's covered so much in like the NFL and
I just
everything
don't get it.
when it's like then watch his games from home.
I know. He's not going to be at every Eras tour.
Like you can't be Taylor Swift and do anything and not expect it to be all over the media.
I
So at this
agree.
point,
I feel
just
like she really wanted fame and she got it. So with the stuff that comes with fame, I don't know that you got to be able to take a joke about it at least.
yeah, I mean nothing's really like negative about it other than like the media is talking about her more than they are like the teams,
Right.
but like no like people are like, "Oh, like how many times was Taylor Swift shown on the NFL game?" Like that's not mean. That's not bad.
No, it's
It's
not.
just them being like, "Hey, Taylor Swift, you're one of the most popular people in the entire
Yes.
world. So when you go to
Time
a game
person of the
like
year.
this, like you're
Yeah.
going to, be on TV and people are going to be talking
Yes.
about it when you, but
Are
whatever."
there. Yeah. The other interesting thing is that it is all media because I saw Dave Portnoy did a breakdown of like how many seconds she was actually on screen this most recent game. And it's like less than 30 seconds that she was actually there, but the media fixates on it and shares a bunch of pictures, and then there's just all these conversations. But Eminem was at the Detroit game, and the amount of time he was shown was like almost the same. So like it's just a stupid conversation in the media to begin with
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just kind of it was a nice break when she was mad and making the Reputation album and
Oh my
like
god.
disappeared for like a couple of years.
I cannot wait for Reputation TV. But yeah, it's just it just gets more complicated of a subject
Well,
each month.
Taylor Swift, if you want to take a couple of days off and stay home with the cold weather, we've got some things for you to
Yes.
do
Yeah, do
because
do it.
you had a genius idea for today's episode.
I did,
Mm-hmm.
related to these frigid temperatures.
Mm-mm. So cold. We don't like it.
But if you're wanting to match the frigid temperatures and the snowy, wintry vibes,
Stay at home and read.
and stay at home and read, we are going to share just so many wintry vibe thrillers or not thrillers. I don't know if you had non-thrillers,
I had only
books for you to
thrillers.
read. Oh, nice. Okay, so thrillers.
Oh, okay, cool. You're
I'm like,
like,
you're the one I'm asking.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like if it
Maybe.
was like something about cold, I'd be like mentioning only hockey romance, but no, mine are all
Yeah.
thrillers
Yeah, mine are too.
because I
To
DNF'd
no one's
four
surprise.
books this week.
Four?
I'm in the worst slump. I'm like depressed. It's just been the worst week
Oh
ever.
my God. I didn't know
Like I
four.
was like, hate this,
That's
hate that, don't want
terrible.
to. Yeah, it was just sucked.
I've had like just no time to read since Monday. Like, or Monday was the last day I like really read like long enough form that I got into a book, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I just haven't since then. So mine's just been like a neutral experience, but four is terrible.
Three in one day and one in the next. Like three in like one day.
Oh,
I was like, I'm not fucking doing this anymore.
oh my gosh.
Ugh.
Well, maybe, but probably not. Maybe I'll have something on here that sounds appealing to you, but I think you've probably read them all already.
I have so many saved because I'm like, are we gonna have how many repeats are we gonna have?
I know. I wondered too, because there are two or three that I'm like, definitely might have brought these up.
Yeah,
Both of us.
yeah. All of mine, I'm like, I have the memory of like a goldfish. So I'm like, did she read this? Should I creep her
I was
Goodreads?
having that I was having that memory issue, but in the sense that I was like, I'm pretty sure there's snow in this book, but then I couldn't be totally sure. So on a couple of them, like I wasn't seeing anything like winter in the synopsis or the reviews, and I was like, I talked myself out of it. I was like, maybe there wasn't.
Good, because I have one that I definitely think that I cheated a little bit on, but I was like, yeah,
Oh
whatever.
well.
Do you want to kick us off?
I will.
Oh,
So my first one made me feel nice and sure that this one was wintry
yeah.
because it's called The Deep Deep Snow by Brian Freeman. Um, so was that one
How
of
did
yours or
I
no?
no, but like, how did I not think of that?
I know. And
It's
though
like one of
this
our
was one
most
of the ones
successful
though
buddy reads.
I know, and I couldn't remember if the Ursulina had snow in it. I felt like both of them did. And
I
then
think
the
so.
way that I ended up choosing this one, I was like, well, this one I can be sure because it
Yeah.
says snow in the title. So that's why I picked this one. But it is one of our most successful buddy reads. And it's a series or a duology. I mean, it says series, but there are only two, and I don't know that he's gonna write more. Um,
Yeah.
the prequel is the Ursulina that we both loved as well. But the Deep Deep Snow is the one I'm talking about now
Hmm.
with Deputy Chevy. I can't talk today. Oh my gosh. Deputy Chevy.
Libbity bibbity.
Deputy Shelby Lake. was abandoned as a baby, saved by a stranger who found her in the freezing cold. Now, years later, a young boy is missing, and Shelby is the one who must rescue the child. The only evidence of what happened to 10-year-old Jeremiah Sloan is a bicycle left behind on a lonely road. After a desperate search fails to locate him, the close bonds of Shelby's hometown begin to fray under the weight of accusations and suspicion. Everyone around her is keeping secrets. Her adoptive father, her best friend's young daughter, they all have something to hide. Even Shelby is concealing a mistake that could jeopardize her career and future. Unearthing the lies of the people in Jeremiah's life doesn't get the police and the FBI any closer to finding him. And as time passes and the case grows cold, Shelby worries that the mystery will stay buried forever under the deep, deep snow. But even the deepest snow melts in spring. I
So
made it.
good.
Clearly, I'm just going to
So
be
good.
mixing my words up today, but we made it.
This is gonna be, I was like laughing because you were like shibbity shibbity. And I always think of that commercial for Liberty Mutual
Mhm.
where it was like libbity bibbity.
Yes, that's
But
pretty
like
much me
you're
right now.
like, she was abandoned as a baby, and I was still laughing at my libbity bibbity joke. So like that's what's gonna get me canceled, is like somebody's gonna take a clip of you being like, she was abandoned as a baby, and I'm like, ha ha ha, abandon
That's
all the
amazing.
babies.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
that book is so good. I think the
It was so
Ursulina
good.
is winter or
I think it
fall.
was too. That's what I can remember. I knew it was fall and the cover looks fall-ish, so I just
Hmm.
couldn't decide. So I went with that one. You can definitely read them in either order, but I liked reading the Ursulina for first.
Well,
Forest.
foist. When you live where we live,
Yeah,
you can get snow in the fall, so that's fine.
that's a good point.
I mean, these are like wintry vibe books, but
Hmm.
even if there isn't like a ton of snow and freezing weather in them, it's just something
Yeah.
to keep you home so you're safe and warm.
Yes. I
But
know. Hibernation vibes are the coziest vibes. It's
full
just
show.
if you're trying to convince yourself to like get shit done in your life, it's the hardest time to do it.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, though, I will say, is like when there's like bad weather coming,
Hmm.
I love to like run an errand and be done like an hour
Oh yeah.
before it starts so I can like
Yeah.
pull into the driveway on two wheels as like the first snowflake falls. Like, you know what I
This
mean?
is
It's
your
like
action thriller.
it is. I would be so good at that like game show in the
Hmm.
grocery store.
Yes. Like
Like the
shop till you
sweepstakes
drop.
one. Yeah, like where you have to like
Yeah,
spend the most
supermarket
amount of money.
sweep.
Yeah. Oh my God, I
Hmm.
would fucking crush that.
I bet you
Crush
would
that.
in your shorts.
My shorts, my crew neck sweatshirt. Like Princess Diana's coming through. Um, I'll tell you where I don't want to be during a blizzard.
Where?
A rest stop.
Oh,
Like my girl Darby in No Exit by Taylor Adams.
that was good.
Is that one of yours?
No, but I love that transition.
Cool. Um, I love this book. It is like action thriller, like mystery, like so hard to put down. It's so fast paced. Oh my God, there's twists and turns everywhere. It's so good. So No Exit by Taylor Adams is about Darby Thorne, who is on her way to Utah to go see Lisa Barlow. No, she's on her way to Utah to go see her dying mother. Um, when she ends up in a blizzard in the mountains of Colorado. The roads are shitty. She just basically is like forced to wait out the storm in a remote highway rest stop. So when she goes in, there's four other people there. And she's like trying to call home, figure out when the storm's gonna pass. But when she's outside trying to make a phone call, she finds that there's a van in the parking lot that has an animal cage in the back of it with a child in it. So Darby basically is like, this child's been kidnapped, but I'm in the middle of a snowstorm. I can't call the cops and have them be here in 20 minutes. I
Hmm.
don't know who to trust inside because I don't know who the van belongs to, and I don't
Hmm.
know who I can trust. but I need
Yes.
to save this little girl. So I'm going to do everything I can. And the blizzard is blizzarding and it's so freaking good. Love it.
Do you want to be surprised? I have not read it. It's one of those books
What?
that I've always known and see everywhere, and I've just never read it. I don't know if that means I didn't put it on my like TBR, like on Goodreads,
My
but I've just
God.
never ended up reading it. And
You
every
will
time
love
someone
it.
talks about it, I'm like, it feels like one of those books that like as a thriller reader, you're like just supposed to have read. So I need to.
Yeah. You've read him before though, right?
No, I haven't read any of his.
You didn't
It's
read the
so
one,
random.
you didn't read the one about,
The last word.
yeah.
No. And everyone loves it. And for some reason, I just have never read. He's one of those odd authors where, like, I just haven't read his books.
So I loved all three. I loved No Exit, I loved Hairpin Bridge,
Yeah.
and I love Last Word. You will
Uh-huh.
love them. Like
I
that should
know.
be your goal this weekend when you're hibernating is to binge all of
Yes.
Taylor Adams' books because they're like 300 pages, super fast paced, like
Mm-hmm.
quick to the point, like the twists
Yep.
and turns are so good, like you never see them coming.
Yeah.
And they're like all got some sort of element of action to them.
Yeah. I'm adding it. Oh, yeah.
All three.
287. That'll be a fast one.
Hmm. You'll love
Yep.
them.
I need to. Ooh, it's Kindle Unlimited too. Woohoo.
Yep. That is your task.
Well, if everyone else has read this book, then they probably need another recommendation I have for snowy vibes. And
Hmm.
that is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was another one I thought you might have. Did I
It
take
was.
it?
Well, I
The cover
have like
itself, it's hard to like scroll through and not be like, oh, that's a winter book.
I'm kind of like glad that I have like five others that I can talk
Yeah,
about if we have any in common because like
yeah,
us being Alice Feeney stands and like
exactly.
doing this like sort of episode, if neither one of us mentioned it, it would have been like
It'd be so weird.
that was strange.
Yeah. So this one is, oh my gosh, it's so good. It was so hard to put
So
down.
good.
Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. When Adam and Amelia went a weekend away to Scotland, it might just be what their marriage needs. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He can't recognize friends or family or even his own wife. Every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts: paper, cotton, pottery, tin. And each year, Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read until now. They both know this weekend will make or break their marriage, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. There's just so many things that go on in this book.
I literally want to read like a romance about facial blindness now.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you imagine like the kinky role play you could do if you were like, who is this today? And like the
And
person
you
that you can't
believe it.
see.
You're like, I really
Oh my
don't know who
God.
this is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That would be a
I
really
wonder if
good
it
thriller.
exists. It might exist
I know. It could. That would be
because there's
also like a
also like a,
really good thriller if you were like, oh my God, I can't see this person that is in my
mhm,
house and you like murder your spouse.
yeah. Ugh,
Trademark.
that would be rough.
I would love to have facial blindness at some point in my life so that like I wasn't so shallow when it came to the men I picked out.
Oh my gosh. I don't know that it would fix that though.
Why?
Because there's all kinds of parts of the body that you're attracted to. And
Well,
just not being able to remember someone's face probably won't
I don't
fix
think you
that.
can see their face though. It's like a, right?
I don't
You
know. I
can't make
thought what I
out their
remembered was
features.
like the way they describes it is just that your brain doesn't like it doesn't learn how to translate what it's seeing into a memory specifically with faces. I think they kind of see faces.
Oh, I
But
thought it was
also
kind
like
of
don't you
like,
think even if Jason Jacob Elordi's face was a little bit blurry, but you saw everything else. would would you still not want to hook up with him?
Of course I would.
Exactly.
But if Jacob Elordi came along and had like one ear that was bigger than the other, or
Hmm.
uh like something on his face that I was like, I don't like that, I wouldn't pay attention to it because I have facial blindness.
Right. But you were saying it would make you less shallow. And I was like, I think you would stay shallow, was my argument. And you just proved my point.
Well, have you ever heard of a butterface?
Yeah.
So it would be kind of like that, where it's like
Hmm.
somebody could be butt ass ugly. And listen,
Oh,
like
their face.
I love a dad bod, right? Like I love a
Oh,
dad
that's true.
bod.
You
I don't
do.
like
Hmm.
abs. I don't like six packs. I love like a dad bod. Like I just love like somebody who's like bulky and like could crush me in 20 seconds, right? Like so
Do you like Seth Rogen?
no, because of his face.
Oh, cool. Nice. Go on.
So, I mean, that's kind of like right. Like, as long as they had like a body that I was like attracted to, I wouldn't care because I wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
see their face.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
hopefully you keep remembering faces.
yeah. And hopefully Alice Feeney keeps writing books just like that because I love that.
I know. She's amazing. And
Oh
her
my
books
God,
are
she's
always
so good.
so different
I know. It's like literally
somehow.
like it just seems like a friend group that like each one of
Hmm.
them tells a story, but they're like the cool friend group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the popular like clickies.
Yeah,
But they all have like really cool style and like legs that are good for flare jeans.
definitely.
Um, I love that one. I have one I don't think you've read and I haven't talked
Nice.
about. Dum-dum-dum. So I met this author. His name is Eric Rickstad, and he is just the nicest man in the entire world.
Oh.
He's so down to earth, and all of his books take place in Vermont. So
Mm.
this is called The Silent Girls by Eric Rickstad. It is the
Mm.
second book in a series, but it can be read as a standalone. Um, so with the dead of a bitter Vermont winter closing in, evil is alive and well. Frank Rath thought he was done with murder when he turned in his detective's badge to become a private investigator and raise a daughter alone. Then the police in his remote rural community of Canaan find an '89 Monte Carlo abandoned by the side of the road, and the beautiful teenage girl who owned the car seems to have disappeared without a trace. Soon Rath's investigation brings him face to face with the darkest abominations of the human soul. With the consequences of his violent and painful past plaguing him and young women with secrets vanishing one by one, he discovers once again that even the smallest towns on the map, evil lurks everywhere and no one is safe.
It's so scary that it scared Bruce.
It was like the Bart was like not really that oh my God. Not really that distracting. I just saw you jump
Yeah.
and I was like cracking up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that book is so
Yeah, so
scary.
I'm in a tiny room and I don't have things on the walls, so when Bruce barks, it like echoes and is like a lot.
I feel like I'm always like I can hear Murphy barking and I'm like, can you hear that? And you're like, no. But
Yeah.
so that's what it sounded like. It sounded like it was like coming from like way over here, but then you
Yeah.
jumped. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it's not my dog. For once, for once, it's not
It's just
Murphy.
Bruce.
Um,
He is all kinds of energetic because we can't take them out when it's like negative.
yeah, he's well, wants to go out with that. But this is the
Yeah.
book, The Silent
I
Girls.
love the cover.
Wintry cover.
It is a very cool cover.
It's really good. It's really good if you are like me and you're
Yeah.
kind of like living in, well, you too. I think you have a little bit more like, what's the word I'm looking for? I think you
I
have like
don't
a
know.
little bit like more bigger things closer to you.
Oh,
Like you're not
yeah.
like as like
I'm
out in the middle,
less.
like
Yes.
boonies as I am. You have a little bit more culture
Yep.
where you are.
I mean, culture's pushing it, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. If culture is Wendy's and McDonald's and Chipotle and all of that, then
Chipotle
yes.
is culture. Let's just get that straight. I have
Oh,
to drive an
actually,
hour
and
and a half to
actually,
go to
I've got to
Chipotle.
correct myself. We have Qdoba, and I don't like Qdoba. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Oh wow.
So actually, we have Qdoba, and I wish we had Chipotle. So I was clearly trying to manifest that for
When
myself.
I lived in Boston, I would go to Qdoba all the time.
Less rural. That's what I am than you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not really rural, but my neighborhood is surrounded by cornfields. So it's just
mine too.
it's
I
a
don't have
weird mashup.
sidewalks.
Yeah, I have sidewalks.
So culture,
That's the
culture.
difference. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're like us and you are sick of like thrillers that are like Los Angeles, New York City, like all these like
Oh,
big
yeah.
areas, and you want something that like takes place in a small town to creep you out, Eric Rickstad's
Yep.
gonna do it.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's really good. It's really good. I actually like the whole series, but that was the one that was like wintry. So I was like,
Yeah. No, that checks out.
yeah, it's
Well,
fun.
if you want to go the opposite of rural, it's kind of the opposite. I'm pushing it a little bit. There's The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. Did I take one?
No, no.
Nice. Uh, there's so many dogs barking. It's like distracting. So, The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley is what I would call a wintry popcorn thriller. So, like, this is like when you're in the mood for just like some kind of wild twists with a vacation theme. That's this one.
Hmm.
During the languid days of the Christmas break, a group of 30 something friends from Oxford meet to welcome in the new year together, a tradition they began as students 10 years ago. For this vacation, they've chosen an idyllic and isolated estate in the Scottish Highlands, the perfect place to get away and unwind by themselves. They all arrive on December 30th, just before a historic blizzard seals the lodge off from the outside world. 2 days later, on New Year's Day, one of them is dead. The trip began innocently enough, admiring the stunning, if foreboding, scenery, champagne in front of a crackling fire, and reminiscences about the past. But after a decade, the weight of secret resentments has grown too heavy for the group's tenuous nostalgia to bear. Amid the boisterous revelry of New Year's Eve, the cord holding them together snaps. It's like wild. It's like, but it
So
is
good.
like
So
we've
good.
all like read the trope of a group of people in a vacation type setting. And then there's the locked room part because they're like snowed in.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. It's a crazy, twisty, wintry popcorn thriller.
And I will say this is good to read during a snowstorm because I remember when I read this,
Mm-hmm.
I put the book that I was reading aside
Mm.
and picked it up because we were having a snowstorm.
Oh, nice.
So I like drew a hot bath and like got into a bathtub with that book,
Oh,
and it
that's
was
perfect.
beyond the best way to celebrate a
I bet.
snowstorm.
It's
So
so good.
it's so good. I love that book. I love that
Yeah.
book. I I love that one and the wedding one.
Yeah, the guest list.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are definitely my two favorite of hers.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't read The Paris Apartment.
I wouldn't.
That's okay.
Not my favorite. There are some people, I
Yeah.
feel like that book is
I
like
think it didn't
definitely,
intrigue me clearly enough to like get to it. So,
I thought it was a very refreshing way for her to do the locked room mystery,
hmm.
kind of like the apartment building that Peter Swanson wrote.
Yeah.
I just didn't, the story didn't work for me. And it's one of
Yeah.
those books where like people are like, I didn't really like that at all, or like people are like, I loved it. Like there's no
Yeah.
one who's like, oh, that was good. Like people are just like,
Right.
I did not like it or I loved it.
Yeah.
Um, which those are sometimes fun to read because you kind of want to know where
Yeah.
you land. Hopefully you
Right.
know. Um, but if you want to know a book that everyone will love because they should love it because it's amazing and I love it,
Yes.
The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkoff.
I have been thinking I need to bump this one up too.
You haven't read it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, let me tickle your fancy. Okay.
Yes.
So, The Overnight Guest, Heather Gudenkoff, so good. I don't know about you, but I love a main character who has a really cool, unique name,
Ooh, yeah.
like Darby,
Yes.
and this character's name is Wiley Yart.
We are just killing it with the names today. You said it with so much confidence too.
Wiley Lark is her name.
It is a great
Um,
name.
she is a true crime writer who does not mind being snowed in an isolated farmhouse where she is staying to finish her new book. Complete silence, a cozy fire, it could be perfect. But decades earlier at this very house, two people were murdered in cold blood and a girl disappeared without a trace. As the storm worsens, Wiley finds herself trapped inside the house, haunted by the secrets contained within its walls and secrets of her own. Then she discovers a small child in the snow outside. After bringing the child inside for warmth and safety, she begins to search for answers. It soon becomes clear that the farmhouse isn't as isolated as she thought, and someone is willing to do anything to find them.
Wow.
So
Yep. I need to read it.
good.
The vibes will
So
match.
good. Oh my God, it's just amaze.
It sounds awesome. I just got approved for her one that's coming out. Everyone is watching, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I think it has like
It
a
has
reality
reality.
TV aspect to
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah,
I know. I
yeah.
was like, ooh.
I know. I thought of it. I thought of you when I saw that, and I was like, I wonder if this is going to be talked about with like upcoming like 2024 that we've talked about,
Yeah.
but that's really exciting.
Yeah. I know. I just literally, I literally got approved this morning and I was super
That's
happy and I
exciting.
wanted to just stop what I was doing and read.
She's really
But
good.
yeah, I see her a lot on social media too.
I started reading her in 2011, I
Oh
believe.
wow.
When I lived in Boston, I read her book, The Weight of Silence.
I haven't read that one.
Oh my God, it is
I
so,
need
so,
to.
so good. It's so good. It's one of my favorite books in the entire world. It's just phenomenal. Um, I read that and I remember like giving it to my boss when I lived in Boston because it was just so good and it kept me like immersed the entire time. Um,
That's how I
but
felt
that,
about This Is How I Lied. I was obsessed with that one.
yeah, yeah, it's so good. Um, I think it's like,
I need to read her backlist.
yeah, you do. She's really good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like The Weight of Silence is like two families that live next door to one another,
Mm-hmm.
and they both wake up and their little girls are both missing.
Oh man.
Um, and one of the little girls is mute because of something that happened.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to find her in the woods and she doesn't speak.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And I think, I don't know if this is like 100%, but I think the families kind of like start to like blame one another.
Yeah, that checks out.
So it's really good. Her
I would
backlist
have
is
to.
incredible.
Well, speaking of another person with a really incredible backlist,
Oh,
my next one is Whiteout by Danielle Gerard.
ooh,
Love
good
her.
one. I love her.
She's so cool too.
She's incredible.
But this is probably her most wintriest book. She's written so many that who
Hmm.
knows. But after surviving a car accident on an icy road in Hagen, North Dakota, Lily Baker regains consciousness with no idea where or who she is. Scattered Bible verses and the image of a man lying in a pool of blood haunt her memory. The same night of the accident, a young woman is murdered and tossed into a dumpster. Kylie Milliard, Hagen's only detective, doesn't immediately recognize the victim, but Kylie soon discovers that Lily and the dead woman share a dark past, if only Lily could remember what it was. Lily and Kylie both want answers, but Kylie has to play by the book. Lily has to play it safe. And the more Lily learns about her identity, the more she fears the truth. And this is also a series
Hmm.
that is very
I
fun.
love
There's
that
two
book.
more.
I
Mm-hmm.
love that book.
It was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. She did an incredible job on that one. That's so much fun.
Yeah. And then she has multiple series. She just has books for days.
There's one. Oh, it's like exhume, expose, excise.
Yes.
That
Expire.
series is very good.
Yeah, I haven't
And
read
it
that
takes
one.
place in San Francisco, so you don't have to worry about missing out on that with the snow aspect.
Nice.
Um, well, I have one that's part of a series, and I've only read the one book in the series, and I love it. And I will always recommend
Yeah.
this book to people. Um, creepy, 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 creepy. The Snowman by Joe Nesbo.
Yes.
Love this book so much. There's so many creepy elements in it. Like, it's just so good. But you do not have to read any of the other books in the series. But it takes place in Oslo. The first snow of the season has fallen, and a boy named Jonas wakes up in the night to find that his mother is gone. When he looks out the window in the cold moonlight, he sees the snowman that inexplicably appeared in his yard earlier in the day. And around the snowman's neck is his mother's pink scarf. So Detective Harry Hole comes in and suspects a link between the menacing letter he received and the disappearance of Jonas's mother, and perhaps a dozen other women, all who went missing on the first day of the first snowfall. As his investigation deepens, something else emerges. He's becoming a pawn in an increasingly terrifying game whose rules are devised and constantly revised by the killer.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. I still haven't read that
So
one.
good. It's so good. It's very there's there's some aspects of it that I can't say because it's
Hmm.
a spoiler, but there are some things in the book that I think you would like more than
Yeah.
I did, but I was
Mm.
still able to follow.
Ooh, nice.
So there's some things in there that I'm like, I think this would be good for you.
Ooh.
Um, but it's just good. It's creepy. Like
Yeah.
you have a missing person that could be related to other cold cases. You
Hmm.
have a killer who built a snowman in your front lawn,
Right. Like how
like
unhinged.
terrifying.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so if you like Lars Kepler, then I think you'll love this.
Yeah.
And it just has like some really good cinematic, creepy. Don't watch the movie. The movie's awful. I'm sorry, but the
It
movie's
happens sometimes.
horrible.
Mm.
But it just has some like creepy cinematic moments in the book that like remind me of like Stalker,
Oh, nice.
like something. I don't know if it's this book or another book, but I mean it's not really a spoiler, but like
Hmm.
like the thing where like you look outside and you see the footsteps leading up to your house in the snow, but none going away.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's
Whew.
really scary. It's
That
really good
sounds
though.
scary. That sounds very scary.
Yeah.
I'll have all the nightmares again. Just kidding.
Hmm.
Um, so I kind of broke my own rule, but I reminded myself that I'm allowed to for this last one
But this
because
is
this
your
is a
last
book.
book.
Yes.
Okay, so my last book I kind of bent the rules too.
Nice. The perfect timing then. So this was one that Susan Walter, an author who I talked to on my other podcast, recommended to me at the end of it and said that she thought I would really love. And so I just wanted to talk about it because it's also a super wintry book called Shiver by Ali Reynolds.
That was one of my books.
Oh, is it really? Because you said you had read it. So Gare has read it. So you guys can hear some perspective of someone who's read it. Um, but when is it me? Oh, sorry. When Mila is invited to a reunion in the French Alps resort that saw the peak of her snowboarding career, she drops everything to go. While she would rather forget the events of the winter, the invitation comes from Curtis, the one person she can't seem to let go. The five friends haven't seen each other for 10 years since the disappearance of the beautiful and enigmatic Saskia. But when an icebreaker game turns menacing, we better watch out with our icebreakers. They realize they don't know who has really gathered them there and how far they will go to find the truth. In a deserted lodge high up on a mountain, the secrets of the past are about to come to life. This is another cover that is wintry AF.
So good. So
I'm
good.
excited. It does sound really good, and I will read it sometime soon.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to say it's like super actiony, but like because they are
She said it
like
kind of was.
sports
Yeah.
sports kind of people,
Yeah.
then like there's that element, but it's just so good. And the
I'm
cast is
excited.
fantastic. Cast is
Oh,
fantastic. Yeah.
it sounds so fun.
It's really good. It's really good. I think you would really like it.
I just want to read, 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 read.
Um, I don't think that was as much cheating as I did.
Well, you can one up me.
Um, so I picked one. This book's not out yet.
Oh, well, that's okay.
It comes out January 30th, but I'm sure it's going to be a
That's
long
close.
winter. Or you can request
Yeah.
it on NetGalley if you do
Right.
so wish. I also don't know if there's snow in it, but it said when it was pitched to me, it said it was Nordic noir and very atmospheric.
Ooh.
So I've never read an atmospheric Nordic noir that's like 4th of July, hot, hot summer, So
Exactly.
like I'm assuming that it's gonna be a chilly weather in this one.
Yeah.
But it just sounds really good. And
I'm
it said it
excited.
was for fans of Joe Nesbo. So
Well, there we
there we
go.
go. It is called The Mountain King by Anders de la Motte, Motte.
Yeah.
Um, so it is about criminal inspector Lenore Asker, who seems to have the leading position in the Malmo Major Crime Division. But things go awry when in the middle of a high-profile kidnapping case, management relegates
I was just reading it with you too.
idiot relegates her to the so-called Department of Lost Souls, which is the unit for cold cases, in the basement of the police station. So, despite the humiliation, she is drawn into one of the more peculiar cases where someone is placing small, ominous figures in town, and one of them seems to represent the missing woman from the kidnapping case. So, as she investigates, going to like abandoned buildings. She reaches out to a local architecture expert, and together they explore the sinister recess of the city and discover that an unusual kind of evil lurks in the shadows.
Whoa.
Woe is right.
That definitely sounds like it's wintry.
I would
It also
think
is
so.
giving Chestnut Man vibes a little bit.
It is. It is. And I am so pumped for it because I am all about
Yeah.
that. Um,
Oh, it looks like it was published in a different language.
yeah.
That's why, because it was showing me I could buy it, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. So it was published in 2022
Yeah,
in
it's
a
been
different language.
translated and it comes
Nice.
out January 30th.
That is very
Um,
exciting.
so yeah, I'm really excited for that.
That sounds perfect. Very, very noir.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds really good. And I guess some of like the early reviews are excelente.
Yeah, it has a
So
lot of great reviews right now.
yeah,
So
that's my
there are
that's my
your
kind of
wintry
theme.
reads.
If it wasn't that, I did have Shiver, which I
Yeah.
deleted. And I had In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware
Oh yeah.
because
I
I
forgot
really
about that.
do love that book. I feel
Hmm.
like a lot of people who want to read it are going have already read it.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but I just love a sinister all-female cast. But I was like, that'll be one of my extras I can talk about if I run out, which I didn't.
Right.
I actually we didn't have as many in common as I thought.
Yeah. That reminded me, well, it's probably because it's a really similar title, but I read Tana French's In the Woods around the same time that I read that one.
Yep.
And that was like a very wintry series multiple times.
Donna French. So there's a musical called
Uh-huh.
Into the Woods.
Oh yeah.
I literally, for the longest time, thought it was the Tana French book turned into a musical. So I didn't read the book
Oh
for a
my
while because I was
gosh.
like, if you can turn this book into a
That's
musical, like I
funny.
probably don't want to read it. But
Right.
then I would like then I realized there was a difference, and so I read Tana French's In the Woods, but I kept calling
Mhm.
it Into the Woods based on the musical. It's been a whole thing.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it did come out in 2007. I know I
Same
found
thing
it
with The Secret
late.
History. I called The Secret History a Secret History for years and years
Oh, that's funny.
until my friend Cindy was like, it's The Secret History, not ah.
I'm trying to think if I have any that I do that with. Maybe not. I always
Do
get
it.
Crystal Smith Paul confused and sometimes call her Crystal Paul Smith in my mind.
I
So
can see
there's an
that.
author I do it with.
I do that with Taylor John Smith from Where the
Oh, yeah.
Crawdads Sing. I always call him John Taylor Smith.
I
So
mean,
like nobody knows what I'm
close
talking
enough.
about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully everyone gets some good grub, stays
Yes.
warm, and hang out with your
Reads
fur babies while you read all of these
all
books.
weekend.